We are going live. So, all right. Let's make sure everything's good because we are kind of doing different this time. So I want to make sure that everything is good because this is the first time we've done a challenge of this nature since pre-COVID. Laura, when was the last time we did
Yeah,
this?
yeah, that's been a long time.
It's been a long time. And the reason we did that is one of many things, but we wanted to switch things up because we have been doing it the old way for a long time. And we were like, we want to do something different. We want to do something that we used to do that proved to be fruitful for all our ladies, which was doing a challenge that got them to actually do deals and not just learn about deals, not just learn about certain topics, which is what we've been doing. And so we're like, we're going to have them do deals. And what better way to start it during summer so that by the time like September hits, because 4 to 6 weeks for contracts, you start making money before the holidays, before the fall, and all that. So, Laura, you want to talk a little bit about what this challenge is about, and then we'll go into kind of the terms and all that.
Sure. I honestly like this way of taking 5 days and really diving deep into the steps. This is really, I love this way better personally because I like to give a step-by-step structure. And I know a lot of you appreciate that, right? You say, okay, I wish somebody gave me the steps of what I need to do from start to finish so I can start doing the deal. And when we have done it in the past, we also noticed that, people are actually going out there and doing deals. That's the thing. You go out there and actually do deals. You start because part of this is actually implementing. We're going to give you a homework assignment every day for your things to do before tomorrow. So this is a commitment, but it can change your life drastically in just 5 days. So, like Liz said, we haven't done it in a while because we thought that going maybe into the different strategy. But then I said to Liz, honestly, at the end of the day, some of the things are going to be common to all the strategy. Which are the strategy? Wholesaling, buy and hold, and fix and flip. Some things are common, as you will see, and some things are different. So this is very exciting for me as a coach to teach you guys step by step this way.
Yes, exactly. So let's go over terms and all of that. So, for those of you that are wondering what is going on, why is this live streamed? Liz, aren't you supposed to be in the challenge and not live streamed everywhere? Maybe there's a mess up. There's not. We actually opened the just day one. Okay. So, for those of you that paid, don't get upset. You get way more. Okay. But just day one, we opened up to the public because we're not doing another one of these challenges for a few months. I mean, it's going to probably be later fall before a challenge of any type, a challenge, a masterclass, any big event outside of our retreat is going to be hosted. And so we wanted to give the last availability to people that wanted to show up, but also maybe wanted to see what this challenge is about and see the type of info we give out. Because me and Laura believe in abundance. And what that means is we give out the info and we don't hold back. We don't say you have to join to learn more about what we're going to talk about today. You're going to actually see the steps of how to do day one's challenge for everybody, and what to do, and then be able to ask questions about it. So we actually are going live every single day. Now, challenge ladies that have already purchased day 2 through 5, you only have access to, will only be in your Facebook group. So kind of figure out, join in and make sure that you are able to. If not, for anyone that's in the public that's only getting access to day one, there is a link for you to join, and be able to pay the $27 to attend the rest, because after today, this will not be public. These lives are every day at 10 a.m. Eastern. They'll go up to 2 hours every single day. Now, the content bulk of like info and things like that is the first hour. We'll do raffles every day. You have to be on live and commenting. Only our challenge winner paid attendees will win today's raffle. This doesn't go to the free or to people that are just watching on the other platforms, just to let you know. Only our challenge winners get the raffles. Um, and then after an hour, we will go into kind of more of a different shift on how to overcome certain things, like talking to sellers, what's going on, and things like that. So that will be what we talk about. Like today, we're going to cover a little bit about business organization, why it's important to show up, and things like that, and different things, and also applying this business to you and your personality. So that's kind of how we're going to run. Now, first thing Monday, if you did not buy the upgraded package, we do take down these live. So the recordings are available even if you can't watch them live for the entire week. And then Monday morning we take it down. If you bought the Elite package that included a bunch of scripts, sessions, and things like that, then obviously your terms are a little different. You have an extra week for everything. We are giving out worksheets. So those of you that are in the Facebook group, you do have to be a part of the challenge to get out the daily worksheets. We're putting those in the group every single morning. So go make sure you grab those for this session if you haven't already. Because those worksheets will help kind of guide through the live and also make sure that you remember this when you get off, because we're going to give out so much information. We also did in the group, ladies that bought, we did a thing where to choose the right area based on where you are right now. What would make sense? Or not choose the right area, choose the right strategy. Are you wholesaling, buying, hold, and fix a flip? This will matter on finances and different things. So if you did not watch that video, when you get off today, make sure, ladies, in the challenge, you go back and watch that video before you do today's work, because it will help you navigate where you're supposed to go right now. So make sure you're doing that as well. If you cannot find the live, keep refreshing if you're in our challenge group, and it will also be pinned to the top of the group as well. So you have that access too, and then we'll give out raffles and then most participation. The more you comment, the more we reward you at the end, meaning we're going to take the top 2 winners or top 2 interactors, and on Friday give you guys a prize. And then there's prizes every day, including the grand prize that we give out on Friday. We put a list of all the raffles this time ahead of time. For those of you that have been in previous masterclass, I do not want you to associate the two. These are 2 totally different events, even if they're the same days and time frames. But what this is we put a list of everything you could win, and all you have to do is comment throughout the live. You get entered in, and then we spin that wheel. My team will spin it and send me that winner information, and we will announce it at the end of every live. We will do questions at the end of every live around the 45-minute mark for those of you that could only stay on for the hour. So we will do questions, but those questions have to pertain to what we're covering today. Okay, so you can't ask questions about something we're not talking about yet. Don't worry, we will get to it. Anyone that's been in any of our classes before knows that we give out a wealth of information that they can't believe we gave it for that price. So it's going to be really good. And then just make sure you turn your notifications on, or you subscribe if you're on one of our public channels, to get any future lives and things that we do on the fly. It will notify you right away. Last but not least, we have a lag, ladies, through us to when we see your comments, meaning that once you comment, it takes about 15 seconds for us to see it on our end. So when we go to announce like winners or questions, you have only so long to ask before we move on to the next person for winners, because you do have to be live to claim those raffles. So just kind of keep that in mind. But other than that, I hope we are excited and ready to go. If you are, I want you to comment that I'm excited, I'm ready to go, and I commit to showing up every day, because I'm telling you right now, it is proved time and time again. Every challenge we've done, at least 1 to 2 women have gotten deals under contract. We have a small but mighty challenge group this time around. So understand that once you do this and you commit to this, your life could change very quickly, but you have to commit to making those changes. You have to overcome your fears. You have to overcome those limiting beliefs that you're telling yourself, and you have to do the work, because as much as you want to win the lottery, if you don't buy the ticket, you're never going to win the lottery. The same works with real estate. You can say that you want to do this, but if you never start taking action and investing in yourself, it's not going to happen. It's not just going to land in your lap deals. You got to do the work. So Laura, let's get going. You ready?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Okay. So let's talk about, like I said, this is going to be a step by step. Okay. So I know a lot, and I'm going to debunk a lot of the things that you guys probably thought that this is what you should do first. So I want for this week to put everything else you heard aside. I want you to put everything else that you think you know aside. And Liz, are we going to say anything about us or our story behind us? What makes us knowledgeable and qualified to speak? So I'm going to speak about myself first, since I have the stage, but I'm going to keep it very short. I have been in the business for almost 40 years. I started actually in 1987. And so you can read more about us. I don't want to take too much time. Please go to realestateinvestingwomen.com, which is our base website, and you can go there into the About Us page and learn more about me and Liz, which honestly, I think you should. Anytime you work with anybody, anytime you're going to listen to anybody in any field, but real estate even more so, you want to know who they are. because a lot of time you have these people that come online and they seem super qualified, they have a really good talk, but do they walk the talk, right? So I've been in real estate since 1987, and if you wonder about my accent, originally came from Italy. And Liz and I are mother and daughter, by the way. I don't know if you said that, but we're a mother and daughter team.
I did on the pre.
Okay. So then in 1987, what happened is I was actually in Hawaii with Liz's dad was in the army, and I was going through college. I was looking for something as a side business to pay for my college. So how many of you would like extra income, right? Either to supplement your business, to supplement your job, to pay off debts, whatever your case might be. That's why I started real estate, because it allowed me the flexibility so that I could focus on my college and have something on the side. But the magic happened that I started working in the business as a real estate broker in Hawaii, and I worked with this amazing group of women who also taught me what was possible. That, they were very supportive, and I learned a lot. A lot of what I even teach today come from that. And I'm gonna come through this week, I'm gonna tell you some of the big takeaways. And so what happened is back when I got to the mainland in 91, I started getting into investing per se. And I actually started with rental properties. Wholesaling back then, quote unquote, was not really a known strategy. And I stumbled it a couple of years later when I started flipping contracts. That's what it was called. I ran across somebody who was flipping properties to me to buy as rentals, and that's how I got into wholesaling. Then I got into fix and flips because I was buying some of these property to fix them up and sell them, but some of them I kept for myself as rentals. But in 95 is where everything happened, really. And I know a lot of you can relate to this. I was doing real estate on the side. I was not really 100% believing that this could be a lifetime career. I was always afraid of something happening and taking it all away from me, which goes to mindset, right? We're all afraid that something happened. We have these fears that something happened and it's all going to disappear. Well, again, that is in your mind. But so in 95, I made the decision. So this is huge, guys, for a lot of you that are looking to transition from corporate or something else to real estate. Number one, I made a decision. I simply made a decision that I was going to do this. Okay, so that was the first thing. And I was looking at this as only one option. There was no option B. For me, it was not an option anymore to stay in my corporate job. Number two, I did whatever I had to do to make this work. Meaning that I don't, want to hear excuses. At the time I had 3 children. Liz was only 6 years old. I had a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. I was finishing my master's degree, and I was working a full-time corporate job, which was very demanding because I was an assistant controller. So I did all of this, but my focus was, I was doing it. During lunch hour, I was sitting in my car. On my commute to work, in the evening after I put the kids to bed, I worked on the business. And the third thing I did was give myself a deadline. For me, was 6 months. I wanted to pivot away from corporate and be this full time, but I also wanted a certain income of at least 10K a month, which back then was quite a bit of money. So what happened is that by the end of 95, when the holidays hit, I went into this full time. And I never looked back. I had to make it work, guys. There was no other option for me. I didn't have anything else to do. My life was changing. My personal life was changing. And so by 97, I was actually doing fix and flip, buy and hold, and wholesaling. 2001 was another pivoting year because this is where I went into private money syndication, meaning, and I'm going to mention a little more this week about how I started raising money to do all the thing I wanted to do, to buy properties in bulk. So by 2002, I was doing over 20 fix and flips at the time and wholesaling 10 plus properties a month because I had the power of all this money behind me. And we're going to talk more as the week progresses. So I'm going to kind of sprinkle all this stuff throughout the week. So that's why it's very important that you do follow along, because I'm going to give you a lot of what we call golden nuggets. And then 2007 happened. And like everybody else, I kind of got caught into this. But I also knew that you reinvent yourself in this business. I've been in this business through some major changes in the world and the economy. I was here when Gulf War happened in 91. I was here when 9/11 happened, 2001, 2007 with the housing crisis, COVID, 2020, right? So I was there during these big changes. And so when you look at to listen to somebody or follow somebody, you want to follow somebody that has been through the ups and downs. It's easy to be a coach and do, tell people what to do when everything goes well. But what do you do when things go rough? What do you do when there are big changes and uncertainty in the world like we're going through right now? You want somebody that can take you through these times, because these are the time of changes where you can make the most money. As a real estate investor, you have to change your mindset that this is the time where there are more opportunities for you. Okay, so I know a lot of you are worried because it's election year, what's going on, and this and that, inflation. This is in your mind. These are times of opportunities when things shift, and you are here at the right place at the right time.
Definitely. Definitely. So moving into my story, I'll keep it as short as possible as well. But Laura's completely right. During this past year with the election and inflation, one of the things that struggle, that comes from someone that was recently, not so recently, but recently, broke and worried about it, is those thoughts come back, the worries come back. And one of the things that you have to really keep your mind straight is that just because it's happening to the other people doesn't mean that it will happen to you. Keeping those beliefs high that your reality can be different than and it all comes down to what you choose. And if you're in our public Facebook group, I did daily affirmations, and I saw that it spoke to one of our lovely ladies, because I said, my reality is what I choose to see. And if I choose to see the abundance of the world and everything else, it's really, really important. So going into why I got into real estate, I started in real estate in 2015. I started through a divorce. I was incredibly broke. I mean, you want to know broke, mattresses on the floor. I lost 50 pounds in 3 months because I didn't have enough to eat. So I made sure my son ate. And so I would do that for him. He was getting kicked out of daycare because I couldn't afford it, and I wasn't even making enough to handle my rent. So when I say that I understand what it's like to be incredibly poor, and this was before 2020, this was before inflation, this was before all that, this is when things were actually what we would give to go back to those prices type of thing. And so that wasn't that long ago. That was almost 9 years ago, but it wasn't that long ago that I know this feeling of this innate fear. I was suffering from panic attacks. I was wondering how I was going to afford even the next meal, things like that, wearing clothes from high school when I was 25 because I couldn't afford anything new, stuff like that. So trust me, I understand. I got into real estate because despite growing up in it, I didn't want anything to do with it. And it was really important for me to, blaze my own path. I didn't want to follow my mother's shoes and all of that. And so I went in and I started doing other things. I worked for her as a personal assistant because I did need money. I was going through a divorce, and I was a stay-at-home mom prior to that, doing ends and odds jobs. So I needed money. And so I worked for her. And as I was working for her and things were getting really, really hard because she was also launching, I started working for one of her students named Cliff. Now, Cliff was an engineer out of Atlanta, and he was co-wholesaling anywhere from 90 plus properties a month. That was something that was insane to me, but I was finding all the buyers for him. I was doing like his social media, and that was my job. And so I asked him, I said, okay, what are you doing? I saw the money that was like getting thrown around, and living in Florida, you see a lot of money, especially South Florida, everywhere. So I was like, what are you doing and how can I do it? And so I was asking him questions, and finally he eventually was just like, okay. He was like, you need to ask your mom. She's the one that mentored me in all this. Bright idea, right? So then I went to talk to Laura, and that is how I ended up getting into real estate. Now, getting into real estate, I started wholesaling, but I did things a little different, especially back then. I wanted to do it virtual. That was really important for me. I lived in South Florida. You guys know how this traffic is. It's horrible, and I didn't want to have to deal with the traffic, but I also wanted to be able to work from home. I wanted to be able to live a certain life. I knew my bigger picture, and so it was really important that I did this virtual. So I kind of, in my own way, did blaze my own path because no one was doing it virtual on the level that I was trying to do. Laura was virtual, but it was very old school virtual. She's like, it still works, and I agree, it still works, but I wanted to use tools and technology and the things that were coming out. And that was really important for me. So I would love to know, those of you that are here, I'm looking at my other screen where the chats are, what is important to you to do this business? Because for me, it was virtual. I wanted to be able to run this business from anywhere. And I have done this completely virtual, meaning I have never seen, like, walked through a property that I've wholesaled in the last almost 9 years. It will be 9 years in October. I have not. Now, if I've seen it, it's because I drove by it in a drive for dollars. I have never met with sellers. I have never met with my buyers at properties. I've never had to show it and things like that. And that was something that was really important for me. I live in South Florida, but my main markets are St. Pete, Tampa, and St. Louis. I've done deals in Orlando. I've done deals in Chicago. I've done deals in Philadelphia. I've done deals in Pittsburgh. And then, of course, I've helped students do deals across the nation. So this is something that is very doable. My first international deal that I closed was in St. Lucia, and it's kind of funny. I have a funny story about that. She tried to back out, so I was literally pacing. There's a picture of me pacing the Black Sands of St. Lucia because she was trying to back out. The buyer was right before closing, but it all went out, and now she's like my number one buyer. She had a lot of fears. So something that's really important that you learn about this can be done from anywhere in the world. I've done it from Japan. I've done it from Vancouver. I've done it from Hawaii. I've done it from Alaska. I live in South Florida. Done it from Italy. And I want you to know that this can be done. It comes down to your mindset and what's important there. So I just wanted to share a little bit about that. I've been solely wholesaling for 9 years. It is starting to be, and why did I do that? Because I like the liability. A lot of people evolve a lot quicker into fix and flip and rentals, but I liked the no liability of wholesaling and where I was in my life. That was what I wanted to do. Now I'm starting to involve in wanting more passive income. Wholesaling is always going to be there, and I have a business running. I have systems and teams and all of that, so they can do that while I do what I want to do. But now I'm wanting to bring in the more passive income, and also Laura is getting me on board to fix and flip with her. And so things will shift. But again, virtual is how I did it, and that's how I'm going to teach you guys this week in the challenge, is to do this completely virtual. And then I became a coach because Laura during 2020 kept asking me to be, and I said no. And then COVID hit, and she was like, Liz, how about you teach the students? Because remember, you had to go virtual overnight. How you did this and how you did that. And when I saw that the students were really getting those aha moments and they were building this life virtual, that's when I was like, I like coaching. And that became a purpose of mine. So my purpose is to change a life every single day. And if I can change one life with one thing I say or opening their mindset to something different, then I have served my purpose. So today, you guys are my purpose, because what I'm going to do is we are going to show you how to do this virtual, show you that it is possible for you, but you have to do the steps. This is something that's incredibly crucial that you need to know. As much as you want something, if you do not work for it mentally or physically, it's not going to happen for you. And so you need to make sure that you fully take action this week. All of my ladies in the challenge, I want you to comment right now, I commit to taking action this week, because I'm going to tell you, in 5 years, I was buying a house, almost $1 million house on the canal, and I now own it still. If it doesn't sell, it's turning into a rental. But what it is that I was able to achieve that in the middle of COVID, when everyone was freaking out, when prices were starting to inflate, when things were going insane. That's when you need to take action. When everyone is fearful, as Warren Buffett says, that's the time for you to be greedy. And when everyone's greedy, that's the time for you to be fearful. And right now, everyone's fearful. So it's time for you to jump. I don't like the word greedy, though, but it's time for you to jump in and take advantage of it as an investor. So if you commit, I only see a few of you, and I know there's a lot more of you in the challenge, then now's the time to say, I commit to doing this, because it will change your life. I tell my students, give it a year. Give it your all. Listen to us. Your life is going to be completely different in 1 year. And I and Laura are living proof of that. So that's my story.
Great. Okay. So we just wanted to spend a few minutes, because I know we have a lot of you that do not know us. And so I just want to make sure that you feel like you're comfortable, you're in good hands here to learn a lot about what you need to do in the next few days. Okay. And everything that we bring to you is from our own experience. Okay. So a lot of the realizations that I'm going to teach you, like was today, came over the years. Everything I learned was on my own through a lot of trial and errors. Now, I don't suggest that to anybody, because honestly, I didn't have any coaches or mentor back in the 80s. There was not such a thing. So it took me about 8 years, from 87 to 95, to get to the point where I felt like I had enough control of the business and know enough so I don't get myself into trouble. But you don't have to do that. We can expedite your curve, and I'm going to share with you a lot this week of the do's and don'ts so you don't get in trouble into the business, because I know a lot of you have fears, and rightfully so. Real estate is a great business with a lot of money and opportunities, but there also could be a lot of challenges and roadblocks. So the first thing you want to do before you even go ahead and establish a business entity is you need to choose the right area where to do this. And it differs a little bit if you plan on to doing flipping a contract, wholesaling, if you want to do buy and hold or fix and flip, it changes a little bit. And we're going to share with you in a few minutes what type of tools and what you do to choose the right area. Okay. Now, one word of caution here is that women, we tend to overthink it, and we tend to analyze everything. And a lot of the students that we have seen get stuck on the step. There is one tool that women have that nobody else does, men, right, do have, is gut feeling, intuition. So when you choose an area, and we're going to share with you tomorrow some of the other steps to make sure that you're choosing our area, some cross-reference, how you can do that. But at the end of the day, you also have to feel what feels right to you. Okay, so don't overthink it. Go there. There are other things that you will have to put into place anyway to make sure you've done the right thing and the right steps. So don't overthink it too much. So choosing the right area is the first thing. After you've chosen the right area, after you've chosen the area where to invest, then you open up your business entity. A lot of you think about, okay, well, the first thing I think I need to do is open the business entity, right? No, because what if you live in Florida, but you want to invest in Georgia, or you live in Georgia, you invest in Alabama? Your business entity has to be in the state where you invest, not where you live, okay? Because the money is going to come from that state where you invest, and for tax reasons, that's what it is. And everything else, liability and everything, has to be in the state. So you form your, either it's going to be an LLC or a corporation in the state where you invest. Now, big disclaimer here, everything that I'm going to share with you this week, especially as we get into contracts and everything else, is for educational purposes only. I am not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. So anything that I share with you, please feel free to talk to a professional to do it. So I'm not going to say to you, it's a better LLC or a corporation, this and that. I'm not going to give any advice on that. I'm just telling you that you should open a business entity. Don't do business under your name in the place where you plan to invest. Okay. So Liz, do we want to share a little bit how do they find or how they can do the research of the right area?
Yeah, so into the chat, I'm on Facebook right now. I know my team is monitoring the other one. So Facebook, I need a city and state that's a metropolitan, city and state. The first one to put the city and the state that's more metropolitan, bigger area. I will use yours as an example of how to do this. So it's going to be a second. While I do that, you guys are welcome to take this and mimic it in your own area that you're thinking of investing in. We will show you why we choose bigger areas versus small as we go through it. There we go. Thank you. Atlanta, Georgia. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you exactly how we choose the right area for you. And I will talk through it step by step. Now, keep in mind, there is a recording of this available. So I'm going to go through this at normal speed and you can come back and listen to it. But I'm going to show you how we choose the right area. It takes me less than 5 minutes to choose an area. The numbers don't lie. Okay, so I'm going to give you a good example of this. I had a student once where an agent said the area that she was in was really bad to invest in. It was slow. And I said, well, how about we go check the numbers? Check the numbers first and tell me what it says. And she says the numbers are showing that it's great. I said, then don't listen to the agent. The agent they don't know you as an investor. Your numbers are different than an agent would run their numbers. And this is something that's really important that you understand. People are going to give you a lot of bad advice. They're going to give you a lot of bad advice. They're going to try and scare you out of this business. Build a confidence within yourself that's unshakable. Understand how to do it, and you don't have to listen to everyone's poor advice that they're giving you. Okay? So here we go. So I'm going to show you right now. I have it on my screen right over here. So I'm going to look over here, even though my camera's here. And I'm going to show you exactly how we do it. So Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. So what you're going to go to is this is the nar.realtor site, nar.realtor. No, you do not need to purchase anything to get access to this information. I'm not logged in, as you can see, or anything like that. You are able to go right in. You're going to go right here to research and statistics. When you go there and you hover over, it's going to look different depending on your browser. You are going to go to the state and metro area data. You're going to click that. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go right here to where it says the MSA, right? Statistical data. And you're going to scroll down to local market reports. This is the same no matter what city and state you're doing. Now this is where it changes. You have to find your city and state. So they only give like really big metropolitan areas. That's why I told you to look metropolitan. So, or bigger areas. So you're going to click this and it's going to auto download a PDF. Okay. So what I'm going to do is when it auto downloads that, it will for me, it auto opens up as well. And Laura, I want you to now kind of talk about, which is funny because every time we do this section, this part changes, which is important. There's a thing here. You have to rerun your numbers every 3 to 6 months to make sure the numbers still match. If things all of a sudden are getting harder, it's harder to get contracts out, maybe something in the area has shifted. And that's why it's always important to really understand your area. So Laura, let's talk about this and I'll highlight where you're going with it.
Sure. Okay. So that, like Liz said, this, it has to be done. Also, keep in mind that this runs about a quarter behind, 1 to 2 quarters behind. Okay. So, so what you're looking at the data here is for the first quarter of 2024, right? So this was about 5-6 months ago. Probably less, but that's what it is. So, but it's still good data. So what you look at is the US average. So what we're looking at, the US average is 5.1%. That doesn't change, right? That's the US average. It doesn't change where you live. But what you want to look at is for the local market, which is Atlanta, 4.2%. So that means that it has grown, but it's a little below the US average. So what does that mean, basically? That's actually good news, because it means that the growth, the appreciation is slowing down. So where things are becoming more, settling down with the prices. For example, a couple of years ago, I remember like the US average used to be 15-16%. And then you had areas like Tampa was over 30%. Miami was 28%. That means that things were so crazy, the people were expecting that they would get more for their property than it was actually worth. The people put it on the market for a certain price, and there was a bidding war, and it would sell for over that. So it means that things were actually way over what was the average nationwide. So to put this in perspective, you want to really choose an area where it's within a healthy range. Now, if it was a little over 5.1%, I wouldn't discard that either. But, maybe 1 to 2% over. But if it starts to going way over or way under, that is something there's some red flags, and I'll look at it a little closer. So 4.2% to 5.1 is actually good. The other thing I look, and this is more for the fix and flippers here, is I look at the FHA loan limit and the conforming loan limits. So I look at the Atlanta one, right? Because again, no, the other column, Liz, the Atlanta one.
I was highlighting the two.
Yeah. So the US average, they go all over the place. It fluctuates on the area. So that's fine. But the Atlanta one, so that means the FHA loan limit is about 650,000 and the conforming limit is 766. That means beyond the conforming limit, it goes to jumbo loans, right? So that's a different market. That's a different type of buyer. So personally, if you want to do a safe fix and flip, if you're worried about changes in the industry, the economy, blah, 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 I would stay close to the FHA loan limit. So if there was a house in the Atlanta area that I'm doing to look at fix and flip, I will look at the after repair value, probably be about 700,000. Okay. I would stay if you can push the conforming loan limit, but you're gonna restrict your pool of buyers, okay? The FHA loan limit, there are more buyers because they have to come up only with 3%, which honestly right now is probably the same as you pay but in rent, right? First month, last month deposit and all of that is a little more, might as well buy a place. And if anything happens, even when we had 2007, 2008 happening, the FHA was still working. People were still buying with FHA program. So that keeps you safe. Now, let's go ahead and go into the second part on how to cross-reference this data.
Yeah, so I'm going to pick, just for time's sake, I'm going to pick a random one here. Let's do for the next one, which is, okay, I see multiple, so we're going to do that one. Let's do Dallas, Texas. Here, hold on. I just want to, because I have personal information on my Zillow. So let me pull this up. Okay, first, before we go in the search
Can we
bar.
do a smaller town, maybe one of the smaller ones?
Well, let's do outside of Dallas then. But I saw a bunch for Dallas. So what I want to do is kind of show you what we look for, and we'll go smaller. Let's go,
Okay.
we'll go out a bit. I'll zoom out and you can tell me where to go. So Laura, let's talk to them about the Zillow method to kind of cross confirm with what we see here as well.
Okay. So look, first of all, you want to put sold, right?
Yep.
In the area. Okay, then you want to go into home type and put the no, the home type.
No, I know. I was clearing out the filters.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, and so I'll put, yeah, houses, multifamily, that's fine. And then you put the time frame, because things have changed. Let's skip it to sold in the last, maybe let's try 90 days since it's such a big area. Okay. If it's a small area where there are not as many sales, you can go up to 6 months. Okay. So let's zoom in. Now this
Where
is
am I zooming? You said you wanted to pick a different place.
okay, but you want to, well, there's a non-disclosure state in Texas. So
Yeah.
we're not going to be able to get a lot of data.
Yeah, that's right. So they have a training. I'm going to go to a different area. So because there is a training, if you go to PropStream, which is a tool we use, I forgot about that. There is a training on how to run non-disclosure. And then students who are on, there's a training that one of our coaches did that's even more specific, more detailed under your comping section, where it shows you how to do it in non-disclosure state. So I'm actually going to pick the next one I saw, which was Orlando, Florida, only because I know that Florida is a disclosure state. So that will make it easier on us to do this. So give me 1 second here, because I have personal information on my Zillow, so I have to not let it share the search bar. Okay. All right, Laura, let's share again and try that. All right.
Yeah, so do the same thing, sold.
And then home type will be houses, multifamily. And then we will do in the last 90 days.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's zoom in.
Zoom in where?
Zoom in so I can see them more.
Yeah, but I didn't know if you wanted a specific area. Orlando's big.
Okay. Let's do around Kissimmee. I like the area because one of the criteria I'm also looking for is older homes. You don't want to go where all the like new subdivisions or things that, just being built right now. No, you're looking for what I call the bread and butter, the bread and butter homes that were built probably in the 50s and 60s. And, they're, excuse me, they're the ones that the ranch style, they're kind of the middle income, right? So those are homes that are probably going to go through some changes. They're being rehabbed, they're being torn down, they're going through some things. So those are the homes that you want to look as an investor, because even if you're wholesaling, they're going to attract your own buyers, which are going to be rehabbers or landlords. If you're doing a fix and flip for first-time home buyers, would like to buy those homes, right? So those are always safe to do. Okay, so let's look at that. Should be up there, Orlando.
I know, I'm trying to find it. I'm like, where is it? I know
No,
it's like
it's southwest of Orlando. Let me see. It's near where Disney is. You will know that.
That's what I was like. I know this better than here.
Yeah, zoom
But
in
I
a little
can't.
bit.
There it is, right there.
Okay.
I was like, okay, here we go.
Okay. So
Me.
now what you do is you pull up some random ones. So obviously, try to pull some of the lower ones. And what you do, you scroll down and you look at price history. So I'm looking at a listed for sale in May and it sold for 315 in July. So it sold for a little higher. Now, is this a concern? Not if it's only one property or a few, but if I pull up 12 properties and they're all showing, or most of them are showing that, yeah, that would be a concern. So let's look at this one. This looks like a little older, not as in a good shape. So it went,
Looks like.
well, this one here was not pending sale, but it wasn't listed. That didn't show. We need to look at something that has a listing agreement on it.
Yeah. And this is how you know it's live because we're trying to we're looking with you guys.
Okay.
So
So
this isn't it either.
this
Hold on.
listing removed as it was for rent. Okay.
We'll find one that gives a good example. Okay, here you go.
Okay, so it was listed in April for 424 and it sold in July for 404. Okay, so that sold for $20,000 below what it was listed for, and this actually was a pretty nice house. So you see that there is a price. Now look for something, Elizabeth, that looks like it needs a lot of work. Because that was sold below, which is a good sign. But now let's look for something that is a little, what about that 145 one? It's kind of 145,000.
Where are you?
If you go down that main road in Kissimmee, go down from your, there you go. Okay. This is a mobile home. Yeah, is that qualified as, well, it qualifies single family residence. So, price history was listed for sale in June and sold for $274. So $25,000. And I still, the sold is sold. It,
No.
somebody bought it for 145 and tried to sell it. You see that in April they bought it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and by shows it's sold? No, it shows.
No, I don't know why that's showing up. It's not
That's
sold
weird.
yet.
Okay.
That's
So
okay. We keep looking. Let's see if we see anything else. Trying to see if I can find one that looks a little more.
that one, go up. That one, yeah.
Not a good example.
This was not listed. That's why I would not show a listed price because it was probably private for sale by owner. Okay. So
Which
let's
is always good though, because it means that that strategy works pretty well. Because it was
yeah.
never listed. Let's pick one. I'm just gonna start picking randoms because it's not working the other way. Yeah, see, they're all,
Yeah, that's for sale by owner as well.
which is still a good thing that those are selling. Let's keep looking.
So you want to pick up about 12 of them. Go at the top list. Go down well, yeah. Okay, so listed in April for 350, it sold for 350. Okay.
But it was, let's go back. It was originally listed for sale at 360. Look at the time.
Yeah. Well, he probably took the listing off. He probably canceled the listing and then reissued another listing, probably with another agent. That's why it was listed for sale. Looks like they also had a pending sale and that sale didn't go through. So with that says, it shows you there is movement. Things sell within a certain time period, doesn't stay on for years, which is good. They sell within a few months, but they don't sell for over the asking price. So that's the one. And you want to look at maybe at a dozen of them and kind of do the research and see. Now, if you live in a smaller area that you cannot get the NAR website to really give you the data, you have to rely pretty much on Zillow to look at the data, and you can use Zillow, you can use PropStream, you can use the MLS if you're an agent. But that's the data that I'm looking at. I use Zillow because for most of you, you have it's free and is available. But the thing is, that's what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for a trend of property listed. Obviously, the for sale by owner, you don't know it, what originally they wanted for the property. So that's why you kind of have to go what was in the MLS so you can get the track record. And for the states that are non-disclosure, like Liz says, there is a training from PropStream. You can also find it on YouTube, and it says, look for PropStream, how to research non-disclosure states, okay? And they will teach you more how you can use their tool to do that. But that's how the research is done. And this is very important. So now you got a good idea, right? What these properties might go for, and that's if it's a good area. Then the next thing we're going to show you is tomorrow is the next step. Okay, so you really want to be tomorrow because now you're going to have to get cross-reference verification. So you're about 75% sure based on your study and analysis we show you today that that is the right area. Now, tomorrow we're going to do the next step. Okay. Now, as far as you having a business entity, you can start doing it after you have 75% sure. I wouldn't do it 100% yet, but I'm pretty sure, like I said, follow your gut feeling too. Okay, at the end of the day. But I'm pretty sure after this step we're going to explain to you tomorrow, they will give you the other missing 25%. Now you can go online and, usually in real life, it might take you a week to 2 weeks between step 1 and step 2 by implementation and everything else. So you can go you can honestly form the LLC or corporation yourself, or you can hire an attorney. They can reserve, quote unquote, the name of the company if you're afraid of losing it, but you don't want to put the money out to do the organization if you're not 100% sure yet. But you can go ahead and reserve the name most of the time. Most states will let you do that for a very small fee. But I want you to do the step today and tomorrow first before you're 100% sure. Now, I want to ask everybody here, are you clear on what type of strategy you want to choose? I know we shared the spreadsheet in the pre-training, right? Or the pre-call about choosing the right strategy for wholesaling, buy and hold, or fix and flip. So I want you to put in the chat, which strategy are you going to focus on? Because that also is going to determine which area you're going to choose. So I'm going to look for here. Yeah, put in the comments for the ones that.
And while we do that, my team is going to give out a free ebook to anyone that is on, so that you have a lot of the steps that we will be covering. So our team is going to give out a free ebook to anyone that's on today, who's on today as well. So just look for that link. You will get a free ebook just for being here today.
Right. So how does it change and I see a lot on wholesaling and also buy and hold. Okay. So I want to give you kind of a little bit of different criteria. If you're looking to wholesaling or what I call flipping a contract, who are your end buyers? Right? Your end buyer is going to be lender or rehabber. We're going to talk that more throughout the week on that will be one of the next steps, lender and rehabbers. So a lender and rehabber buying in the area of your choice, right? If you see a lot of these distressed homes being sold in a relatively short amount of time, and you see that there is a lot of cash sales for this home, this probably means a lot of rehabbers are buying it because it's not necessarily cash a lot of the time. It could be that they use private money or so forth, but that's qualified as cash in the MLS world, okay? So if you want to find out more about that, you would have to do some research on the MLS to see of all these properties actually sold, how many sold for cash. And ideally, you want to look for areas where at least 25% or more actually sold for cash. That tells you that there is a lot of rehabbers or investors buying in that area. Now, if you're looking for rentals, you want to do some research, like what is the rental market? So I will go back to the Zillow and do a research for rent and see how long it was listed for rent and what it ended up renting for. So it's kind of the same research like we did for the sold, but instead of doing the sold, you do the for rent. And then you find out, what is in the past, because a lot of time properties might have gone for rent over the last year, then they come back on the market. So you kind of want to do the same research. There are also tools out there like Rentometer that will give you more information about the rental demand in the area. So those are things that you can use some tools out there to really confirm the area if it's good for wholesaling, buy and hold, or fix and flip, or if you're interested more in buy and hold instead of wholesaling. Okay. Great.
Awesome. So if you want that ebook, it's into the chat right now on all of our platforms so that you can go and grab the ebook. What we're going to do now is we're going to give homework assignment to our challengees today that you need to complete by tomorrow. One thing I want you guys to remember is this is a challenge. It's meant to be a challenge. It's meant to push you out of your comfort zone and out of your nice little box that you put yourself in to become a successful investor. So today your homework is to go choose your area, and then you are going to come back to the Facebook group if you're in the challenge and let us know what area you chose, okay? Remember what Laura said at the very beginning, don't overthink this. If the numbers match, the numbers match, okay? So you want to go out there, find your area, come back into the Facebook group, create your own comment, and post that you have completed that homework. Sound good? So that you guys can start. Also keep in mind, if you have questions, get in there. We're giving for most interaction and people to help each other out as well. And maybe someone understood the assignment more than others or has done this assignment before and kind of know what to look for, and help each other out. That will help you as well. You get out what you put in. Now, if you want that ebook, you have to go to that link. I see people putting their emails. You don't want to put your email here. One, this is public, so everyone's going to start emailing you. So I'm going to delete your comment. The next thing is though, is go into that and put into the chat, put it into the link, and it will give you the ebook. Make sure you check your spam. Sometimes it will go in there just because you're asking for a resource. So you will do that, and then you will come back, and the person that does all the homework, each person that does all the homework will get entered in for the grand prize that's announced on Friday. Now, speaking of prizes, before we go into Q&A,
Can I add something to the homework before you get into that?
Okay.
If you feel like you found a really hot area and you do not want to share, that's fine. Just post that you found the area, okay? We just want to know that you've done your homework. But the thing is, I understand. I personally found a hot pocket somewhere. I'm not going to share it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the
I
thing.
agree.
Yeah.
Now, one thing is, for those of you that are like, how do I get into this challenge? It should be a link in your description. It should, my team will post it into the comments as well. So if you are wanting to attend this challenge, here's the thing though, there are questions. If you don't fill out the questions to join the group, we're not going to let you in. I know people are messaging in. I see on my phone that I'm trying to get access, but your name and email aren't in the questions. We can't look you up. So my team needs to know that. So you can go, you can join for today only. It closes today, meaning there are no options to join tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And this is the last time we're doing it till end of fall. So I'm just sending that reminder out to the public. If you want to join this challenge, now is the time. Now going into our raffle winner. So what we did for our raffle winner is that they would get, remember, get your typing fingers ready, because as soon as I go to the second person, that first person, even with the lag, does not get this. We'll get an upgraded ticket to the VIP for the challenge, meaning that you will get an update. We will upgrade you. If you already won or paid for it, sorry, if you already paid for it, we will refund you the VIP ticket for our challenge. Okay? So get your typing fingers. Are you ready? Our winner is, and team, you're gonna have to let me know if she comments, because it might be on different areas, but I think it should only be my challenge winner, so it shouldn't matter, is Nikki Johnson. Nikki, are you still on? I saw you commenting earlier. So Nikki, are you on? I give about 30 seconds with the lag. If not, I know the second one was on. They give me runner up. Now, how this works is for you to win, you comment, and then you have to email in and claim it. If you do not email in and claim it, she's on, congratulations. Then we are not just going to go chase you down. So email in questions at realestateinvestingwomen.com, and you will get to win. We will give out the raffles 2 weeks following the end of the challenge, meaning that starting next week we will. Here's an issue, ladies. We are, for some reason, our domain, when we email out, it's going to spam. So please, every day, check that our emails about raffles, we're trying to get a hold of you. We're getting it fixed by our tech team, but I wanted to give that awareness, because if you're like, I'm not here, make sure you guys check your spam pretty regularly if you know you emailed in for things, okay? All right, Laura. We're going to go into now what's called a Q&A. How this works is I take one question per person, and let me get a pen because I write down your names, and I will read, Laura will answer, or vice versa. But usually I just let Laura kind of take over the Q&A for these kind of topics. So we'll let her take over. How it works, one question per person. We'll start now. All right, here we go. Cindy. What if the city percentage under the NAR is a negative percentage?
then I would really be careful, because do you want to share which city it was that you're thinking about?
Well,
Do you
because
have
of
the data?
delays, I think we should keep moving.
Yeah, no, definitely. If it's bad, then negative percentage. I mean, it's 5.1% nationwide, and you have minus 3%. Or yeah, I would stay away from that area. Gut feeling right here. Yeah, and there are some areas like that.
Keep your questions coming in, and team will if you're asking on any of our public platforms, the team will send it to me. So just know that I will still handle everyone. You don't have to be just part of the challenge for today. Jody's asking, do you also go after for sale by owners in your area?
Yes, that's something we will talk more this week as part of the leads on how to tackle those. That's called one of the quick win strategies.
Yeah, so keep questions pertaining to today, or I'll have to skip over just because we want to make sure we don't confuse the ladies. We have done challenges and master classes for I think going on 5 years now. We've done this for a very long time, so we take a lot of feedback. So Nancy, like your question will be covered later today or later this week. It will not be covered today. This is about choosing the right area. So I just want to remind you, ladies, let's make sure that we keep it pertaining today, which is choosing the right area. We do have the replay, so you want to go back and listen to the replay, but the homework is to choose your area and come back, and you could just post the state. You could post just, I found my area. If you don't want to share the area, if you found like a gold mine, it happens, and you're not comfortable, but you can at least come back and say that you were doing that. Okay. Anyone else? Now, I know everyone's excited. They want to know all the questions that's coming up here in the future. Understand that we are going to cover a lot this week. We are teaching you exactly how to get deals under contract this week. So know that we will get there. But if you do not build a solid foundation, think about it. A crack in the foundation is never good for a home. It's not good for your business either. So make sure that you do this area and you come back and into the group, you will do that for yourself and you post that you've done it, but make sure you really do the homework and then you choose that area and you stick to that area. It's nar.realtor, just nar.realtor, not .com or anything like that. All right, Jessica saying, I went to the NAR and looked up the area and saw it was below the 5%. I then went to Zillow and looked up the area and the selling price was higher than the asking price. So would that be a bad area then to choose?
Like I said, just because it's below the 5%, now it depends how much below, right? So that's the thing. If you're within 1%, 2%, you can still probably see properties that are going for more than the asking price. Now, it depends on the area because when you look at the area, like a metropolitan area like Atlanta, for example, they're going to put all Atlanta. You have the newer area with the new developments, the new homes where things are going probably still high with the older areas that are going to sell, for low. So you have, it kind of offsets each other, right? So it's not a true percentage. It kind of gives you a bigger idea. That's why you have to go to Zillow then and kind of pick the area. So if I go in an area like Atlanta, for example, I want to kind of look, you will probably know Atlanta, I assume. And so, you want to pick those pockets that are kind of the older. Like, for example, Orlando, we call Kissimmee because I know there is a lot of older homes there. I wouldn't go to an area of Orlando where they're all building the new homes, right? So we'll see a different story. The percentages kind of give you a trend for the area because they take everything, but then you want to dive deep into different little pockets in the area, different zip codes, and look for the older neighborhoods. And those you're probably going to find that are going to go for at or below asking price, not the newer neighborhoods.
Okay, next question is if you are wanting clarification on steps, you need to go back and watch the replay. We're to save on time, we'll just have you watch the replay. I need assistance with running true, accurate comps in Texas, which is the non-disclosure state. The realtors I have connected with, and they are moving way too slow for me in running comps. I want to get access. What do you suggest? I don't have my license.
Well, like we said, I would suggest the first thing you watch is the prop stream. Actually, Liz, do you want to give him a link of the prop stream for everybody? We have a free trial to it.
Yeah, team, will you post the link into the chat, please, for prop streams trial? That would be great.
Yeah. And as far as the agents, we're going to talk more throughout the week how to work with the right agents, but it's a selection process, guys. You will have to talk to probably 10, 15 agents to find one to work with. and there are really good, some advice I give, I cannot get into for the sake of time here, but there are agents out there that are motivated you can work with, definitely, but that's a selection process. But in the meantime, watch the video on selecting the area on non-disclosure states.
Definitely. Okay. So what I want to do now is I kind of want to take a little shift right here. And first I want to know, was this good information for day one? And also, what was your key takeaway for day one? What did you learn today that maybe was like this aha moment? I would love to do that. And let's shift into speaking on making this business your own. Okay. Here's the thing, when you get into real estate, every single one of you have different reasons why, different goals, different aspirations, different ways of being an investor. Meaning that when you are, when you're in, I saw someone is in St. Louis, Missouri. That's so funny. That's where I invest, but that's also where I grew up. Anyway, when you become an investor, everyone's going to tell you this is the exact step to being successful. This is exactly what you need to do. And this is how you do it. And this is the only way. And if you don't do it this way, you're going to fail. This is what I tell my students, because we have 7 investors that coach on our team. We are adding students, a new one as a junior coach who has become super successful. And we turn a lot of our students into coaches because why? They walk the talk. So, but here's the thing about this. Every single one of my students, I tell them, we are going to give you the guidelines. We're going to tell you what to do and how to do it, but you have to make this your own. There are different variables to become successful, but the biggest variable in your success is who you are as a person and how you show up. And so you want to make this business to match your personality, because let's say you don't have the personality of Liz, or you don't have the personality of Laura, and you're trying to be just like them in this avenue. What happens is you build a business you're miserable doing. So what you have to do is find out, what kind of personality are you? How do you show up? What works for you? What doesn't work for you? What makes this business fun? Because real estate, while it is stressful, while it is hard work to become successful in it, this business is actually something we genuinely enjoy as investors. We genuinely love it. I mean, come on, how many of you are driving constantly looking at homes? Or in my case, you sit at the hotels when you travel a lot and you immediately turn on HGTV. This is something that is a passion, but you have to build this passion around who you are as a person. That's the biggest variable in your success. And even the most introverted, shy, heavy accented, older, younger women become very successful because they build this business into something they love. Laura, I want you to share the story because I love this story of the Indian woman that helped you become successful when you first started out in real estate. How she only knew like 10 words in English as well. I love that story.
Sure. Okay, so what happened is this was in Hawaii, and like I said to you, I was very fortunate to be around a group of women that gave me so much knowledge and wisdom. And there was this lady that her name was Abba Duby, which actually I looked her up recently, and she's still in real estate. This was almost 40 years ago, and she's still in real estate. So what happened with her is that she came from India with like $40 in her pocket and spoke very, very little to no English. And she got in real estate because obviously she wanted to try to make a life for herself and her children. And she was wildly successful. So back then she had this gorgeous home on the cliff overlooking the ocean. She drove a new car, a top of the line BMW every 6 months. And I was like, okay, what are you doing? How are you going to get to these listings? And she told me one thing. She said, come here tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock at the office, and I'll show you. So I went there and sat beside her. And back then we had what we call the Haynes directory, which by the way is still available online, but back then it looked like a phone book. And this directory gives the name of the owner, their property address, and their phone number. So she had certain areas. She was going for areas that were higher end, not extremely higher end, but higher end, nevertheless, $1 million plus at the time. And she would literally call everybody on the phone book. But the thing is this, she said, I'm not leaving until I have at least this many appointments, listing appointments, because I know out of this, I think it was like 10. So she knew she was going to get at least 3 listings signed from those 10. And she says, sometimes it might take me a few hours, sometimes it takes me a whole day, but I'm not leaving. So that's one of the things that I learned from her. So it was something that it triggered me. And I've been talking a lot to students lately about this. And I know a lot of them had this aha moment. And I'm going to share with you what the aha moment is. I think a lot of the time, as you go through training, as a lot of coaches tell you, is that call, right? Cold call, number game. You have to call hundreds of people. You have to call thousands of people and handle the rejection. And that's all good. But you're focusing on the wrong thing. She was focusing on how many conversations so I can get these appointments. She could be calling 100 people. She called 500, 1,000. That wasn't what she was focusing on. She was focusing on the conversations. So I want you to start thinking about that way too. Focus on the conversations. Those are the ones that are going to produce deals. It's going to take, because every list is different, right? Quality instead of quantity. You're probably going to get more conversations out of a list of for sale by owners that you're going to get from randomly calling people that are going to foreclosure, right? So that's the thing. How many conversations, not how many calls. That was a huge mind shift for me. And that's what I teach the students.
Definitely.
And then within those conversations, obviously we teach what you ask, how you engage, how you approach a conversation, because you want this conversation to be productive. Because at the end of the day, if you have 5 conversations a day and you spend 15 to 20 minutes on each conversation, and you have about an hour and 15 minutes, I assure you, if you have 5 conversations a day, by the end of the week, you will have at least 2 deals.
All right. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is time management. A lot of people, for everyone saying the PropStream URL isn't working, I think there is an update being done, but I have my team looking into it. So once we get this solved, we will post in the challenge group it's solved. So if you want to save that link for now, I will make sure it gets taken care of for you guys. It seems to be a tech issue across the board the last week, one our emails and everything, but that's okay. One of the things that I hear a lot is like, Liz, I don't know how you do it all. Like, I run 2 multi-million-dollar businesses. I'm a single mother of 1 boy who does karate, MMA, and soccer. He is a straight A advanced student. Like, this kid is impressive. He has his own schedule. I have mine. And up until a couple of weeks ago, I lived on the other side where I had no support. And so other side of Florida, where I had no support. The closest people to me were my mom. She was 2 hours away, so everything was on my plate to be able to manage. I will tell you what I tell everyone else. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. You have to prioritize what's important to you. And you have to think long term, because here us as people, we're into this like instant gratification. And if it doesn't work out right now and it's not happening for me right now, and all of this, then immediately it means it's not meant to be or what have you. You want this instant gratification. And one of the things with making time for yourself is understanding that growth, it's not linear. It is up and down, and you have to still stick to it. And dedication has to come in when motivation wanes. And so, how do we get that the same 24 hours for everyone else is the same as me or the same as Laura? Is we prioritize what is important during the time that we have dedicated to it. Meaning that the way you would show up for an 8 to 5 is the way you need to show up for your business. Have you ever heard my 5 to 9 to my 8 to 5? So at 8 to 5, you go to your business, you do corporate, what have you, your job, the job that's making you money right now. Then your 5 to 9 is the business that's working on for your bigger dreams, this entrepreneurship, the REI business, and things like that. When you get into real estate, this cannot be a hobby. This is why they're putting so many laws on wholesalers and investors and all of this stuff, because people treat this as a hobby. This is a business, and it is a very frugal business. You can make a lot of money in this business, but there has to be a dedication to it. You can't half-ass this, okay? Yes, I cuss. I don't care how that affects you, because I needed to say it just right there. You can't half-ass this business, meaning that if you're going to dedicate 8 to 5 to somewhere else, you need to dedicate 5 to 9 to this business. And you would not call your boss and say, I don't feel like coming in today, so I'm not going to do it. No. So you can't do that with real estate. You have to show up. When I got into real estate, I was working 2 full-time jobs, okay? I was a newly single mother. I was going through my own personal issues. Laura was working a full-time job and had 3 kids that were under the age of 5 when she did this. But what separated it, what made us successful is that we stuck to it. We gave it. We didn't make excuses. There was a dedication there. And your dedication has to be to your bigger goals. Why do you want to be in real estate? What is this going to do for you? Because when you determine that your purpose is more important, what you're doing this for is more important, you will stop making the excuses to not show up for yourself. Am I right or am I right? Okay. So so one of the things here that I want you to say is, if Liz and Laura could do this, and Warren Buffett, and say what you want, Trump, he still runs real estate while doing everything else he's doing. What did they do is they have dedicated, they have built, they have showed up to what they need to do, and they make the time for what's important. It's 11:11, by the way, for us in Eastern time. So you make that time, you show up, you make wishes, but then you work on your wishes and all of that. So what I want to know here is, how dedicated are you to making this happen? And then you have to become the person that makes this happen. Meaning you think of your highest self, the person that has already done this, the person that has already showed up for themselves, the person that is already doing these deals. I was reading about something similar to this morning. Why not show up as her right now? Why not dedicate? Because what did that person do to become successful? What did your highest self do? She showed up. She didn't give up. She stayed dedicated. She didn't give in to her fears. And she still probably feels these fears as her highest self, but she doesn't give in to them. She still shows up. So for you guys, show up as that person. That person is dedicated. That person, she has done everything she can to overcome her fears. She shows up a different way. She holds herself a different way. She thinks a different way. That reality is still a reality that you can choose to show up in today, meaning that you can still act as if it's happened, and that confidence, bring it into the person that you are now. And people don't realize that, because one of the things is that they said, I was reading today, she goes, when you were at your best place in life, how did she feel? You've had a moment where you felt like you had it together at least once in your life. How did that person feel? How did she show up? What did she look like? What was she thinking? You need to apply that to real estate today. Laura, you got the face. I know you want to say something. Do you want to say something on this? No? Okay, so I knew she normally has a face. So
I'm
if
sorry,
you're
I was muted. I didn't realize
yeah.
I was. No.
If you're tired of being tired, then find something that inspires you. When I started this, I was fed up. I was fed up of being broke. I knew, because I lived in South Florida, which is honestly the biggest blessing that could have happened to me, as expensive as it is, because I knew there was money. I'm like, these people are making all this money. Why can't I? Why is it not possible for me? And then I shifted to, it is possible. So for you ladies, if you don't want to be tired anymore, and I understand this feeling more than you know, I still remember those moments. I still remember exactly how I felt. What was is that the biggest thing was, I decided that what I was reaching for was possible for me. Because if the desire is within you, that means it can happen for you. That means that the desire was placed in your heart to show you what is possible for you. This is possible. But you have to stop giving into the beliefs that you're telling yourself. And I'm not saying this specifically to her, okay? I'm using the example. It's not. Because obviously it's in your heart. It is meant to happen for you. So if you want to have your dream, Jody, then you have to do the work, get yourself there, but the first thing is to believe that this is very possible for you. Once you believe, then you need to decide that you are no longer going to think and live in the reality that you have put yourself in. You have to change what your current reality is. People tell me all the time, Liz, I was talking to Laura about this because I had this big aha moment the other day. Liz, you are just not attached to what's going on in the world. You're out of touch with reality. I'm not out of touch with reality. I have a new reality. And there's a reason, and I hate to say it like this, there's a reason your reality is the way it is and mine is so drastically different. Okay? One of the things is that Laura, she got a lot of hate when she started really making it in life. A lot of hate. A lot of people that's like, you just don't understand and things like that. But what you don't realize is anyone that started from nothing is well aware of what it's like. They just choose not to think in that reality anymore. I don't want to think where I struggle. And yeah, there are days where things are not great and I have to readjust. And that's why visualization is really important. But your thoughts create your reality. If you're always thinking negative and what could go wrong, I know Brett's like they're the best at giving the kick in the ass for the mindset. But here's the thing, you always stay that way, you think that way, your reality is always going to reflect that because the universe doesn't know the difference. So it's just going to keep giving you more evidence of what could go wrong in your life. Instead, shift into what could be right. What could your life look like? Start loving and romanticizing the life that you want into your day to day. Light candles, play good music, go out and take a walk. That's all free stuff. Go do those kind of things. Get a candle from the dollar store and make your dinners more beautiful. What you'll see is if you start noticing all the good and the beauty and you're really there, life will change for you and it could change very drastically. So first you have to believe it's possible, then you have to decide, but then you have to put in the effort. You have to show up. Remember I said you can't win the lottery unless you buy the ticket. Real estate is not going to happen. Deals are not going to happen if you don't take the action to make them happen. You can sit there and believe all you want, but until you start doing something to change your daily life, it's not going to start happening to where your highest self shows up. In order for me to get where I was, I had to completely change the way I thought, completely change who I was as a person in the best way. I highlighted, I amplified who I was, who I loved about myself. You know, and we talk about money all the time. Money just amplifies the good in you. If you're a good person, I'll do this for another day on mindset on money, but if you're a good person, it will amplify that you're a good person. Now that I make money, what can I do? I can pay for marketing to reach more women because there are too many coaches out there teaching you the wrong crap or getting you in and then not even coaching you, right? You have all these other people coaching you. Then you have that. There's too many coaches out there that are scamming you. So what money did for me to be able to make more money was able to pay for more marketing, to get in front of more people and teach them the right things. That's what money did. When I upgraded my mindset, I was able to help and change other women's mindsets. I was able to change their lives because I could lead by example. You want to be successful in real estate, you have to have the mindset to be successful, but you also have to make this bigger than what it could do for you. What could being in real estate do for people in your life, the people you care about, the people you love? Could you give back? Could you give back to your church? Could you give back to your community? Because one day I'm going to tell you this, and you guys won't believe this, but money will not be enough to make you happy. You can make all the money in the world, but if you don't have a bigger purpose for it, the bigger purpose of to why, to bless others or to do more things, how many people have you seen make a lot of money either lose it all or turn to drugs because they don't have this purpose to do something good with the money to be able to give back? Yes, you're going to treat yourself, you're going to live your best life, you're going to travel, you're going to do what you want to do, but then eventually you're going to want to do something bigger with it, and that's where your purpose comes in. Laura, I know you got something good to say on this.
Oh, there's so much to say, but I mean, I totally agree with what she says. The thing is, at the end of the day, is that what do you want and how do you want it? There's two big questions that you need to answer. What do you want and how do you want it? And why do you want it, right? Because just to say, oh, I want to have a lot of money, okay, that's fine. Well, a lot is relative, depending on where you are, right? But the other thing is, what is money going to do for you? Do you have, what is it going to accomplish? And then you might find out that a lot of stuff doesn't need money to do, right? If you want to have better health, if you want to do move into a different area, yeah, maybe you need a little bit of money, but not as much as you think. So what do you want? Why do you want it? And how do you want it to show up? Well, I want the money to be effortless and fun and easy. I don't want to have to work hard, because a lot of time we expect that you have to work hard. Now you don't need to figure out exactly the how. You already have 50% of the work done for you because you're here. You know that real estate is going to be your ticket. I always like the joke that says that there was this woman that was praying God. He says, I want to win the lottery. I want to win the lottery. And God said to her, yeah, okay, but at least you need to buy the ticket. Well, you bought the ticket. You bought the challenge, right? You're here because you believe that real estate is going to be your lottery ticket, with much better odds, by the way. But you believe that's what it is. So you've done that work already. Now the work is mentally. One of the things I share with you when I made the shift is I didn't give myself option B. You have to get uncomfortable with being comfortable.
You have to get comfortable with them being uncomfortable.
Yeah. So a lot of you are too comfortable in where you are. Well, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I have a job. At the end of the day, I have my Social Security. At the end of the day, my husband is working. Whatever the case might be, at the end of the day, I have a savings. Okay, but obviously that's not enough to get you to the next level. There is something missing. There's something struggling there. There is something that you say, what do I want next? And it's not easy. Even when you feel like you got, I was there this morning, I was sitting there by on a bench by the Intercoastal. I live here in Florida. I live between the beach and the Intercoastal. So some days I go to the beach, some days I go to the Intercoastal. But I was sitting there this morning and I've already, achieved so much. And so I was like, what do I want now in my life? What else? What else? Because you're always going to want different. That's part of being human. Okay. The day that you get to the point that you feel like you have achieved everything and there's nothing more to want, that's the day you probably, die in a way, if not physically, actually mentally. So you got to always want it. That's part of creating contrast. That's part of creating this energy bigger than yourself. That's part of you being human. And so there's nothing wrong with wanting more or better of what you already have. But you have to look inside yourself. Everything you have is already in you. You don't have to look on the outside. That's why I say when you talk with other people, first of all, don't give your energy away, especially with people that are not going to understand what you want. But the second thing, you're not looking for permission. You're looking for people to support you. And if I can give you the support, you can decide if you're going to be your own best friend or your worst enemy. You're going to decide, am I going to help myself, get myself to where I want to go? Or am I going to rely on everybody else to tell me what to do, to approve of what I'm doing? You're not looking for that. And if you can't get it because maybe because the thing is, to this point, to this day, today, everything you've had in your life has produced where you are today. Where you're going to be tomorrow, a month from now, a year from now, it starts from today on. So if you're not happy where you are today based on past performance, obviously, because that's what you are, the product of the past, okay, then you have the power to change where you're going to be tomorrow. But you got to take some personal responsibility in doing that. And that's the thing, personal responsibility. You have all the power within you to do it. You don't need anything else out there. And it starts from here, taking inspired actions. Like I say, you already bought your lottery ticket, which is why you're here on the challenge. And now you just have to act with inspired action. You got to take some action. Money comes from interaction with people. Money comes, think about it. All the money in the world, why are these people billionaires? It's because they have done something that interested people to give them money for it. Jeff Bezos of Amazon, right? Elon Musk with Tesla, PayPal, SpaceX, Trump with the casinos and hotels, right? All these people have done something to get people to give them money. So that's why real estate to me is the best thing out there, because you're going to serve a basic human need. People are going to give you money because you give them a commodity, which is real estate. rentals, a place to buy, whatever the case might be. This is where the money is. This is money circulates from people to people. Think about it. All the people that made a ton of money in this world is because they dealt with a human need and they fill the blank of the human need. And you are in the perfect place for that.
Definitely. So the biggest thing is just understanding that there's nothing you need to do to be worthy of it. You just need to know that you are. And when you do that and you start realizing you're worthy of your desires, that's when you can start taking action to making it happen. So we're going to go ahead and start closing out, but I would love to know into the comments what you plan to do with the money. Because once you can like have a visualization of what you need to do, you will see things start moving in your favor. The biggest thing and something that you have to constantly work on is not going back to those limiting beliefs and letting them hinder you. Okay. So that's something that's important. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start closing out. If you're not in the challenge, now is your time to buy because this closes out after today. It's $27 to be a part of the challenge. It's for 5 days. We end on Friday. If you are ready to change your life, now's the time. Challenge ladies. This is the time where we are going to push you as far as push you past your fears. This is the time you're going to get real close to what has been hindering your success so far. So you want to be aware, and that's why I wanted to start this week with this, because you're going to start seeing what comes up for you during this challenge. What is limiting you? And the biggest thing you have to say is this is a limit. Thank your brain for being fearful and keeping you protective, but saying this is what's been limiting me. And I'm going to overcome this limit. I'm going to take action. So you need to go out there and start doing your homework right now while you're inspired. Go do your homework and then come back and see us at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Now, things are going to be going out in our challenge group throughout the day and throughout the evening as well. So keep in mind to come back and check that. And then also we'll be here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. But the biggest thing here is to understand that what we are teaching you is very possible for you. It doesn't matter how broke you are. It doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter how you were raised. It doesn't matter what country you're from. Half of my coaching staff are from other countries. Okay. Laura is being one of them. so what I'm saying is though, is it does not matter. And so one of the things that I want you guys to do, and we're going to end in, is I did an affirmation this morning that I shared that I physically was writing down in my own journal. And then I was like, this is too good. Let me share it with my ladies. So in my Facebook group, I give daily affirmations. And I want you to write the one that speaks to you the most. And this will also be the one that we referenced earlier. So I want you to start writing whatever speaks to you. These are the affirmations I wrote today. I feel confident. I feel secure. I am limitless. I am the manifestation queen. My reality is fully connected to my thoughts. So the more abundant and true my thoughts are, the more abundant my life is. I can have everything I desire. The reality is available to me, and I choose that one every day. Hence why I live the life I live. Knowing that money comes to me all the time, it doesn't run out, it's right there. It's supportive and empowering. It helps me do more good in the world. I show up as my highest self and I make decisions and lead my life from her thought process, not my current one. So that was what I did today that I wrote and shared in the group because I was doing my own mindset and I do my own affirmations every day and I share them into the group. But this one was really personal because it was my own and it wasn't just like ones that I made up for the group or what have you. But these were the ones that I physically wrote in my journal this morning. But here's the thing, we practice what we preach. Laura and I are both active investors. We actually invest currently. We own rentals. Laura wants me to get into fix and flip. We wholesale. We do these things because, and then we teach you because we actively invest. And that's something that's incredibly important. The last thing I want to say with Laura is that she's been through multiple recessions. So if this is something that you're worried from, how about you follow people that have done it, that have been through it, that have dealt with it? Because it's easy to follow people that have run the high since then. But what about the ones that have been through multiple recessions, that have learned, that could teach you? That's the power of a mentor. That's the power of having people that have done what you are wanting to do to be able to help streamline that process for you. Okay. All right, Laura, anything you want to say before we get off?
No, just want to remind everybody that, you know, the ones that are special guests today, that if this day wraps up your access as far as, you know, the challenge is concerned. So please, I don't want you to miss the rest of the week because it's going to be super important. We're going to dive into the tips. So we just wanted to give you a taste for it. We're spending here a lot of time every day to make sure you understand. And then throughout the group, we're going to go into the group. I'm going to go in the group today to see if any of you have questions. Like I said, kind of keep it to today's topic. So for the sake, because there is a lot of stuff we're going to be covering the rest of the week, but I'll be personally checking all the questions in the group today. And for anybody else that's not part of formally of the challenge, this is the last time you can join. So make sure you do that today. And I think we posted the links right throughout.
Yeah, no, make sure, team, can you keep posting it throughout all the comments just in case? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, ladies. Well, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope today showed you what was possible for you, to show you that the steps, once are taught, are actually very simple, like we showed with choosing the area. It's us as women that tend to overcomplicate it. But I'm super excited to get to work with you guys. This is my favorite. I have students in there. I have old students in there, a few old students in the challenge. They just want to challenge themselves to doing a deal. What's beneficial of that is if you've already had some training on real estate, you kind of already know what to do. My very new and green ladies, hang in there, push yourself. Okay, it's possible. And honestly, sometimes it's better when you don't have previous training because you don't have all these preconceived ways of doing things. So I'm super excited. I can't wait to work with you guys this week, and we'll talk to the rest of you later.